Hi everybody, welcome to today's NBS webinar, NBS for Building Services Engineers. My name is Stephen Hamill. I'm Innovation Director here at NBS. If you want to follow us on social media, the NBS is the NBS social media account on Twitter, and Stephen Hamill NBS is myself. So a little bit of housekeeping to start off. Probably going to be 40, maybe 45 minutes. Everyone's on mute today, but we really do want questions and feedback, and we'll answer all comments that are sort of put into the questions box. So please keep the feedback coming in throughout. We always like to sort of hear people's comments. What we're going to look at today is, first of all, the NBS and CIBSE partnership. We'll look at specification from a building services engineering point of view today. I'll do a live demonstration of our NBS Chorus platform, and then we'll finish by looking at some case studies and doing a little bit of a sort of customer presentation from the building services engineering practice, Hydroq. So first of all, just to look at the CIBSE and NBS partnership. CIBSE now endorses us, NBS, as the official specification and product data platform. And there's more information on that on the CIBSE website and also the NBS website. Some of you might have seen that in the members update that went out recently. And it was quite nice just to get that quote from Simon Parker, the managing director of CIBSE. Just leave that on screen for a few seconds, but two things just like to highlight and bold there. Just now the inventive sort of like digital platforms in the cloud, the ability to work smarter, to bring people, organizations, and data together through technology. But as a real nice bit of phrasing there. And also on the manufacturer product information, about driving higher standards in construction product information. So we're going to jump straight into it. We'll do a demonstration now of specifying using NBS Chorus. Yeah, so this is our website, the nbs.com. And if you want to find out any more information on Chorus after today's demonstration, you just come to our website and then jump across to the NBS Chorus page. And you can see now that we have over 3,600 practices across all disciplines: architecture, project management, structural engineering, building services engineering, using Chorus on projects today. And if you scan down this page, I think a lot of sort of specifiers want to see what template content that NBS have. So when you're writing your specification, what are the sort of template clauses and the guidance? And you can get a full sort of content list by clicking here and getting this PDF. So just have a little jump across there. You'll see that we cover all of the different disciplines that go together to producing buildings. So like civil structural engineering, earthworks, structural systems, a whole host of systems there for architecture, but just coming down to the classifications relevant for building services engineering. You see we've got systems for disposal, pipe supply, heating, cooling, refrigeration systems, ventilation and air conditioning, electrical systems, communications, security, safety, control and protection, and transport. And what we'll do in the demonstration today is just showing how to add some of these templates in and configure them and make them project specific. So that's a little overview of the scope of content, but let's jump across to Chorus itself. It's a cloud-based platform, and when you log in, you come into your projects dashboard where you can see the projects that you're working on. You can set up projects just by clicking the Create Project button. And because it's in the cloud, it works through any of the latest web browsers, either on a PC or a Mac, or even if you're doing things like site visits. As long as you've got a sort of 3G, 4G connection, it works great on a sort of handheld device like a phone, and also sort of iPad devices as well. So what I'm going to do is just jump into this project here, Newtown, like fictitious office project. And the first thing you can do, once you've set up the project, so you get a bit of metadata, like what is the project, like it's an office, what stage of the project is it at, whereabouts is it. But once you sort of set up your project, you can come in and create specifications and also control who in your organization and maybe external consultants can access this project. And you can give them the permissions that are appropriate for that particular project. Are they an admin? Can they contribute? Are they a reader? And that's similar to using Dropbox or Google Drive. But to create a specification, you click the button here and give the specification a name. So I just call it Building Services Specification, and you choose the NBS content set. So we're going to go from the Uniclass 2015 classification, the work section library. And then once you've created your specification, you then add the content that's relevant to that project. So what we'll do is we'll add a heating system and maybe a detection system as well, just to demonstrate how to specify using NBS Chorus. So I search for heating system here. You see we have templates for all different types of heating systems. So electric systems, solar systems, got heat pump systems, etc. And as you click on each template, you get guidance that synchronizes on the right-hand side. And that guidance has been put together by looking at the different sort of expert sources on the web. Things like CIBSE guides, BizRIA guides, the latest British standards, etc. And if you want to add one of these specifications to your project, you just click the plus button here, and that drops into the job. So I do the same thing here with a detection system as well. So search for detection systems, and there's various different items that come up there. And you click on them just like you saw previously. You can see the guidance, and then you click the plus button, and it drops into the job. So you imagine you've maybe finished the concept design stage of a project. You're working with the architects, structural engineers, and you've determined what systems are required on that project. At that point, you enter the specification phase and add those items to the job. Now, against each one, you can come in and add a description at the top. Before then, you sort of go through the different checklist items and start the specification. So, for example, on this heating system, you could say, or a full design responsibility heating system. Just to that early stage, just have a little description against each item. So for this one here, you could say it's going to be you can go through all of the different systems that you've added there and just add a little description against each one. And you can add your own coding over and above the sort of base Uniclass as well. So if you want to call that intruder detection system 1, you might have 2 intruder detection systems in the project. You can add your little code there alongside as well. And then there's 2 fundamental ways of specifying. There's one, which is your more descriptive way, where you specify the overall performance, and the design's then completed by the contractors team, or you can do a full specification where you go through and specify each of the components. So you might have noticed here for the detection and alarm system, you get a list of the potential products, things like the indicating equipment, notification equipment, detectors, cable type, containment, etc. And on the low temperature hot water heating systems, you're starting at the heat source, going through all of the different pipes and pumps, and then finishing at the heat emitters there. And then the base of the specification talks about the execution and system completion. So let's first of all look at intruder detection, which is going to be a descriptive performance specification. So I'm going to leave all of the product decisions to the contractors team. But for this first prompt here, system performance, I'm going to read the guidance on the right-hand side that synchronizes, and then add clauses where I can describe the requirements of that heating system. So I can go through and add a number of clauses. And as I click save, you can see the specification, the level of information that's inside there grows. So now you haven't just got an outline of the system, you've also got a number of clauses for you to complete to describe the system performance. You can do the same thing further down here in the system outline. If I want to specify the execution, there's pre-written clauses for removing and installing intruder detection systems, and then the requirements for system completion to make sure you're not just getting that quality of product, the quality of installation, but also getting that sort of soft landing where you get the right documentation, you get the right testing, spares, the maintenance instructions, etc. You can put in the specification clauses to make sure that the handover stage is correct as well. So what we've got now is an outline of the system requirements, and then we've got a subsection for the system performance. We've got a subsection for execution, and we've got a subsection for all the requirements of system completion as well. And you'll see that the NBS team have researched and maintained a template clause where it's partially completed for the sort of standard requirements, and then you have inserts to fill in for the project specific elements. So if we look at, for example, the system performance clause at the top here, when it comes to the requirement in terms of the overall sort of design requirements, there's certain items that are sort of standard that are already filled in, and then there's other items which are project specific. So for example, is it going to be a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or grade 4 system? And it's really important that specifications are project specific, and you're not just reusing pages and pages of old specification from a job that's not relevant to this one. I think that sort of goes without saying, but you can click on here and jump across to the standard, and you can see the sort of commentary from the NBS technical author to help you make the right decision. As I go through this checklist, as I click on the item, the guidance synchronizes on the right-hand side. And again, you've got the reference to the relevant standard, and then the decisions there for you to pick from that's right on a particular job. If there's something that isn't relevant on a particular job, you can always park it off as well. And if you've got requirements that are over and above what's in the NBS template, you can come and add your own requirements as well. You can pick from the drop-down values, but also add your own items in here as well. And if you do want to reference an external document, as you sort of highlight an item here, you can come and make things bold, put bullet points in, and also sort of hyperlink across. Any hyperlinks in the specification will come through in the PDF that gets generated as well. So by going through the NBS templates, just methodically going through the checklist here, you can write a robust specification to the latest standards that's relevant to that particular project and the procurement, whether it's a contractor design or full design. So I'm going to jump across now to the heating system and go through how you'd actually specify specific products. So jump across to the heating system here now. For this particular system, I've got full design responsibility, so I'm just going to park away the system performance. And here's the checklist of items that you go through, and you can put together the products that give you the performance that you know you need from your design calculations. So for example, here it's asking me what sort of heat source, and you can see you have a number of different products that are in here. Whereas maybe a more complex design where you've got maybe a full heat pump system here, you see the guidance on the right-hand side tells you where to add that system from as well. But if it's a simple product, then you can come through and it's like gas-fired condensing boiler. At the point where I click save, that sort of drops that into the product subsection further down. So you'll see our technical authors there have gone through and made that relationship between the candidate products for that specific system. So for a low temperature hot water system, here are the different types of pumps that would typically get specified on buildings in the UK. And you can go through, and again, if something's not relevant on a particular job, it's there as a checklist, but remove the items that aren't relevant. So you're not just creating pages and pages of specification that's not relevant for that particular project. If there's more than one product that serves the function, so the function of like heat emission, it might be a combination of air curtains, radiant panels, and radiators. So you can see that you can add more than one product to perform one of those functions. And if we just have a little bit look further down now, you can see we've got the specification clauses for those particular products that I've added. And just like on the system outline clause, as you go through it, the guidance synchronizes on the right-hand side. So pages and pages of support to help you make the right specification decisions and the technical characteristics that define that particular product. We've used the same terminology that is defined in the standards themselves. Just demonstrate, just jump down here. You may know a specific manufacturer that does a job. When you click on the manufacturer row, the guidance on the right-hand side toggles to the manufacturer products that NBS work with to put into that same format as the NBS spec clause. So I clicked on radiators here, and I'd like a particular type of radiator from a manufacturer I can come across. So for example, here I go to the classic column, radiator from Stelrad, and you get guidance there on application, sort of description on the features and the benefits. And you've got the technical characteristics of that particular product on the right-hand side. And if that's the product that's right for this particular project, you can click on the plus button, and that just drops straight into the specification. And then you can pick from the options from that particular manufacturer. So the options that you get here are no longer the NBS generic options, but they're the options from that particular manufacturer here. And I think it's always a good idea for the more technical items to contact the manufacturer, and you can jump across and contact the manufacturer technical support where you need it. So we've demonstrated there how to put the specification together, how you edit it and use the guidance, the manufacturer information. I guess the final stage is then publishing it and sending that to the relevant members of the project team. So if I jump back across here now, you can publish all of the items in the specification, or you can pick sort of specific items if you say I had a package for heating and a package for cooling, etc. But for the basic demonstration, I'm going to just publish all, like both of those systems. You go to actions, publish spec, and then you get led through a wizard. The first time you publish, there's nothing to compare against, but subsequent publications, you can show the revisions on cover pages and inline in the document itself. So jump to the next stage here. I'm going to save a copy of this specification because I want that audit trail of what's been published out of the office. And imagine I'm going to give it a, so I'm going to follow the naming conventions from the 19650 standards here, say whether it's draft or whether it's a stage approval, and also give it a sort of revision number. And also for that sort of cover page on the specification, you may want to say who's the person that prepared it and who signed it off. So you just got that record of who put this together and who was the person that published that. The last stage of the publication wizard, when you're generating that PDF, is how you want it to look. You probably want it to look at the same as your drawings, same font, same color. And you can have style sheets. I'll show one I've prepared earlier here. but you can have your admin and set of style sheets of all the specifications look the same that come out of the office. When I click publish here, that's going to generate a PDF from that rich information in the NBS Chorus cloud system. And that would then typically be uploaded to the common data environment alongside the drawings. So you see there, I put a nice sort of cover page on the front with the company logo. You've got your document control sheet there for all of that metadata that you put in. And then you've got an interactive table content you can click and sort of jump down to. And everything in blue here is a link as well. Put your company logo and the headers and the footers, etc. And there's the specification that's been published. And as I see on subsequent publications, you can highlight, automatically highlight the different revisions in terms of new clauses, amended clauses, and removed clauses. And you get a history here in the publication history of all of the different publications, all of the little notes, and you can go back and see the PDF that was published by a particular person. Now, one thing we said at the start was the collaboration aspects of Chorus. On this particular project, you can see that there's more than myself that's working on it. What I've got here in this web browser is logged on is my colleague Kate. Kate can come into the project and work on it at the same time. So if I come into Newtown offices, I can see the same specification here. And Kate can come in and work on any of these items. So I've opened the air curtains, which is used by the low temperature hot water system. Kate can come start working on the specification. Also, you can put notes. So Kate here could say, note in there. And that's going in as a note from Kate, who's got access to the specification as she's working on the air curtain system. If I jump across back now into the version of Chorus logged in to Stephen, as Stephen comes back into the specification here, you can see that in addition to the publication, there's also a spec note now. And as I jump across to the spec note, you'll see here's a note from Kate, all trapped in that sort of same single location, a single source of truth. And I can jump now to the air curtains. You just sort of record the specification decisions at the point where you're making them. I can't currently work on the air curtains because Kate is the person that's got that checked out. So if I jump back across to Kate and Kate jumps across to the canned rotor pumps, this is now free now in Stephen's area to work on this. And you can see here, I can show the last edited details. So as I hover over here, I can see that it was Kate that last edited this at that particular time. So a nice sort of audit trail through the publication history and last modified with the notes, creating that thread of information of who's done what and when through the project. Another sort of collaboration feature is the ability to, so if I jump back across now to the main dashboard with all the projects, you may have noticed at the top you can have office masters and office-wide sort of organization notes. So what I'm just going to demonstrate here is in the masters area, you can have a specification content that you maintain and use again and again on projects. So in this area here, I've got some architectural items, mentioned multidisciplinary practice, but I've got a sprinkler system, which use sort of again and again on different projects. What you can do here now is just click in the checkbox and say, copy this from my masters into the project we're working on. So I can come here and say action, copy to, and you get that nice little wizard interface here and say copy to the project, Newtown offices, building service engineering spec. And that's going to take it from the masters and drop it straight into that project. It's a bit like creating standardized Revit families or what have you, and then using them again and again on future projects. So if I open that sprinkler system now, it's not sort of a blank NBS clause, but it's a clause that's already been configured. And you can see here it came from the general masters across our office. I mentioned the organization notes, and you'll see that in addition to the NBS guidance, you can capture the knowledge from across your practice, especially important if you're a larger practice with a number of offices. But as I've opened up the sprinkler systems, you can see that there is organization notes here, and there's a little note on the right-hand side, again with hyperlinks, etc. And you're sort of supplementing the NBS system to make it really work as a sort of expert system for your office. It's like so look at the clauses now. You can have them sort of, instead of sort of 60% complete, to 95%, and then you're saving a huge amount of time by having that managed centrally and then used again and again on projects. As standards get updated, like NBS has been updated for the last 50 years, since the 1970s. And when NBS changes, that information gets pushed through into your projects and masters in terms of alerts. So I just want to demonstrate that now. If I go to this project here, let's go to this pre-prepared spec. You see I've got one or two systems in here. This note here updates, shows you which specifications have had updates from NBS over the months between you created it and sort of today. So if I have just a little look down here, you can see that there's a sort of whole host of updates that have come through there. And if I click on any one of those, you get a sort of how it currently looks and what's changed in NBS. And then you get a sort of like track changes type information there on the right hand side to say what it's changed from and to, with the little alert. And then you can click the button and it takes the latest version of NBS and pushes it into your project or into your masters. So that sort of covers all of the sort of main points I was hoping to show today in Chorus itself. You can find out more about it in the Chorus website here. I'd like to finish just by showing how it integrates with the 3D model in that sort of like wider BIM environment. So if I just jump across to Autodesk Revit here, you see we have a plugin for Revit. And what you can do is link the project and then link the objects within that Revit project with the equivalent items in the specification. So if we just have a little look here, we've got this Revit model linked to this specification. And then this Revit model has its architecture and building services linked as well. And that means that if I just open this up, I can come and pick any object in the Revit model and link it to the equivalent specification. So I think inside this model here, we've got a bit of a sort of plant room here at the back, some transformer and boiler, etc. So we just have a little look at how this works. I can click on any of the items here in Revit. So we've got a boiler here, and then come across to the specification. You just click these three dots and say associate with model. And what that's going to do there is just stamp the classification codes and suffixes into the Revit file itself. So if we look at this RFA file now, you'll see there's a little set of NBS parameters that get sort of pushed in with the GUIDs. So I'm going to link up three of these objects and then just show how to do annotations and maybe scheduling, etc. So what we've got there is a pump as well. So I find the pump. If you've got like a whole list of things here, you can just use the search. Click the three dots, associate the pump with the specification clause for the pump. And I'll do the same thing here with what we've got, say that's the pressurization unit. So now we've got the boiler, the pump, and the pressurization units designed in the Revit model, but also linked to in the spec. And that means the next time you click on any of these items, the specification actually comes up on the right-hand side. So providing that you've got the right permissions, you can work on the specification, add new items to the specification at the same time as you do your design. And you can also come and do your annotations here as well. So if I drop down now, I've set up all of these annotations just to use those NBS parameters. So you're going to be like improving the accuracy here and just sort of standardizing the way that all of these cross references work. So the last thing I'd like to demonstrate here is the model button here. And when you click the model button, it'll show you what hasn't been linked, what has been linked, and if there's any issues. So I'm deliberately create an issue here. So I'm going to click on the pumps and just change the suffix here, and I'll just call it pump A. So by doing this, the specification's now out of sync with potentially tens of drawings and schedules. If I jump across to the model button, you'll see that NBS now flagged this as something that's out of sync. And if you watch what happens to the canned rotor pump, as I click fix all, the CRP001, when I click fix all, changes to pump A, and you're bringing the information in the model synchronized with the specification. Okay, we'll finish off the webinar today by looking at some customer stories, some case studies. So jumping across back to our website, if you come to the resources area and look at case studies, you see the whole host of case studies here from project managers, architects, structural engineers, and also building services engineers. So you can click on any of these and read how they're using Chorus. And one here from Adler and Allen, building service engineering, and one here from Hydroq as well. And they'll do a similar demonstration of what I've done, but from a real sort of live project that they've been working on. What we're going to do now is just play out a short video that we recorded earlier this year from Director of Building Performance Engineering at Hydroq, Anuran Wickramasinghe. So over to you, Anuran.
Hi, I'm Anuran Wickramasinghe, Director of BPE at Hydroq. I'd just like to share a few thoughts about our use of the NBS Chorus specification. Hydroq is a multidiscipline consultancy, and we have over 500 staff spread throughout 16 offices in the UK. So these are the sectors we work in. It's a wide-ranging set of services. We do commercial work, defense, nuclear, residential, unlocking sites and the like. With the geotech teams, we go right across all the different disciplines. I am a director of the BPE division, and that's essentially building performance engineering, which involves M&E, but also acoustics, fire, building physics, vertical transportation, smart energy, and master planning and the like. These are just a selection of the projects we do. It varies from projects such as this, which is the Wave. It's an inland surfing venue just up the road from where I live in Bristol. It's proved to be very popular. Unfortunately, with the lockdown, not so many people, but there are several sites now planned for the UK and also abroad. We also work on various buildings, such as this one here, which was a naturally vented building with for the hydrographic office. And they were thrilled with this building because it was very open plan, very airy, a lot of light, and we spent a lot of time modeling this building. The Mercian is another building we're working on, which is a residential building, very popular these days, which is the build-to-let market that's emerging in the UK. Sorry, this is another image of the hydrographic building, the interior. Our structural team worked on this project here, where we got the Concorde, which celebrated its 50th year this year. and that's where it's displayed at the museum. As I said, we do a lot of geotechnical, sustainability work and the like, unlocking sites and master planning and bringing sites to development. And this is a recent building. We finished a community center in South Wales. So that's roughly the range of projects we do. As you can see, a very wide range of projects. And our structural team and the BPE team have been using NBS previously, the Create, and now we've migrated across to Chorus. And I just want to share a few points about the advantages that we've had of using NBS Chorus. Many of us, over 90% of us, are now working from home, and the online platform has been excellent for us. We've been able to work from our homes. We connect up. We don't have to clog up our server because it's a web-based type arrangement. And also being a multidiscipline offer from our office, the structural engineers and the MEP engineers all using the same product means that it looks consistent throughout. And as the same goes with our other partners in the engineering process, such as the other professionals, the architects and the like, who also are using NBS. The other thing that's quite useful for us is this simultaneous working from the different offices, so that there might be an electrical engineer in one office and maybe a mechanical engineer in another. And now we don't have to be sharing files and the like. The online platform helps us work together. Another very important factor for us was to try and get the specification to align with our branding. And NBS has helped us to create the front end of our document to align with all the other documents we publish. It also is formatted so that we can do our QA processing with the same document. So that was a very important factor, because the drawings and the specifications are really the product that our clients see. The engineers spend hours and hours working behind the scenes, but when it goes to publishing the information to the outside world, it's a spec and the drawings. So it is very important for us that this document looks exactly how we want it to look. And we have been able to do that with NBS Chorus. The other aspect is companies like ourselves, we can't really invest in a team to be dedicated to updating the BSs and the codes of practices and the like, and keeping the spec up to date. And that has been a very important point for us. We don't want to be specifying products that are outdated. We don't want to be referring to standards, particularly now that we are now using many BSs and BSENs, that we are up to date, and all the changes and the errata are all picked up. And this is where NBS is able to help us. We rely on the work that they put in to keep the documents up to date. We've been creating templates so that the engineers can quickly go into the documents and create a specification. But even though we have the template, we have that assurance that at that point in time when the engineer starts preparing the spec, all the references are up to date. So that was a huge worry off our minds from our QA perspective. So I think those are really the items that I would like to share, and how NBS has been helping us engineers with our work and making it more efficient and quicker to get the documents prepared and issued to our clients.
Hi there, I hope that case study was useful. Just going to finish off now with a few slides. This is just showing how Chorus is getting used more and more over the last year and a half or so, especially since more and more home working, like digital cloud technology is being used. This is showing the time spent specifying in Chorus every month since January 2020. In this slide shows the equivalent on a cumulative project, and most of these across the UK, different project teams using Chorus on their jobs. Anybody that's new to NBS, please visit the nbs.com/CIBSE page, where you can find out more about using NBS. We're offering all CIBSE members a preferential rate on NBS subscription. So please fill in the form on the right-hand side or drop us an email through to find out more about this. There's also another webinar from my colleague Paul Swaddle, just introducing the basics on good specification writing. If you're an existing customer and you just want to find out more how to get the best out of NBS, we've got our NBS Academy. So training academy for NBS, hands-on, sort of self-taught and also trainer-led courses from the team at NBS. Yeah, so that's all for today. So further information, NBS Chorus, the nbs.com/CIBSE for the special rate, and NBS Academy for existing customers that want to really get the best out of NBS, nbs.com/NBS Academy. So thank you for watching the presentation today. Really interested in finding more about your feedback. Please pop it in the questions for the webinar or give us a ring or drop us an email on the email address that's listed on the screen at the moment. Thank you very much.